Hello. Welcome to my channel. For the longest time in my adult life, I believed that I am what they call a perfect employee. I am a very good follower, a good team player, a loyal staff member, and just that. I did not ever believe that I have what it takes to start something by myself, to put myself out there. If 5 years ago you had told me that I would be thriving as a freelance professional who has taken on client work one after another for a living, I would say you're completely insane. And that's because I strongly believed that I don't have what it takes to be a self starter. All I can do is follow instructions and deliver my job. So, what changed? What am I thinking differently now, doing differently now that helped me conquer the self limiting belief? This took me several rounds of close introspection. I understood it was a few things, and I can narrow it down to a few critical mindsets, thought process, and I will cover three of them here today and the rest of it in some other video. First was the realization that no one knows everything and everyone is figuring things out as they are moving forward. And this includes people whom I look up to in the education sector, in coaching industry, in the content creation gurus. There are CEOs and startup founders. I used to think that all these people just know everything already, right? They know what to do, how to come up with ideas, how to pitch, how to talk to their clients, and they come with all the knowledge. And that is why they are doing what they are doing. An entrepreneur, leading a team, running a business. But it was in my last few years when I was employed full time, I had the opportunity to work closely with many people who are founders and self starters, and working very closely with them on the projects at the back end of it helped me open my eyes. And they all have great vision, right? They all portray a lot of confidence, but they don't have everything figured out. They don't know exactly how they will get to their vision before they start it. But what they have instead is the willingness to go find out. They do get scared, they do get nervous, but they don't stop. That is exactly what helps them to run their business the way they do it. It is such a big realization for me that it proved to me that I am not very different from them. If they are trying to figure out, I can figure out too. The second mindset shift was a little hard to make because this blog kind of defined who I was for the longest time, and that was fear of failure. Being afraid to be imperfect, and that change was willingness to try, being okay with imperfection, being okay with some level of failure. It would have been very difficult for me to do it in the past because all through social media or all the final products that we see as an onlooker, they all look perfect, right? And I don't know how to get it right, so I might as well not try. But because now I know that there are so many setbacks, imperfections, frustrations at the back of it, and it's just not visible to me as a consumer or as an onlooker, it is not like it's not there. So it helped me to kind of push against that mental block, and I really started telling myself that it's okay. It's okay to fail. I need to be ready to do trial and error. And it's okay if my very first training that I take is not the best in the world. Or if I have to go ask several people to learn certain things, it's okay. It's okay if I don't have the perfect thing from day one. I think it also comes from how we are raised, right? From childhood, we are made to believe that we need to know 100% of our stuff. Before you appear for a test, before you attend an interview, you need to know everything perfectly. I mean, there was no room for error. And I know where that thought process really comes from, where that advice comes from. But in this day and age, we cannot really carry that burden of knowing everything at all times. So, I mean, on this topic of upbringing as children and how it is affecting us as adults in this, professional world, I think it can be a series in itself, and I will cover some of them, and how we can all try and overcome that. Coming to my third mindset shift. So, the third one is very important, and I will admit that I have not yet conquered it fully, but I can see that I have come a long way. It's not really worrying about what others think, not overly concerned about people whom I don't know, people who don't know me well, and just worrying about whether they would mock me, what they would think of me, am I even qualified to do this, will they think I'm an imposter, and all these thoughts, not about me, about other people, how they would perceive me, what they would be talking about me with their colleagues, etc. etc. I mean, I know it sounds really silly when I say this out loud, but it was a real concern for me for the longest time. I waited literally a decade to start anything to do with my passion just because I was thinking what these others would think of me. And now I have realized that worrying about other people is not going to help me with anything. It did not help me for a decade. And I know how, it entered my brain. In spite of that fear, I still pushed through putting some of the content out there. I used to publicize some of my achievements through social media. And you know what? None of those times, no one ever told me anything. I didn't receive a single negative comment. No one mocked me on my face. If anything, a few comments that I got were all very positive and encouraging. And see, those who aren't really interested in me, they hadn't even checked my posts or asked me what I'm doing or how I'm doing. So, after many, many times of this happening in the past couple of years, I have slowly come to this realization that no one is really thinking about me, in the sense that they are not spending their valuable time or wasting their valuable time talking what I am doing or what I am not doing. See, I am not the main character of their life. So, everyone is concerned about themselves. The truth is, everyone is trying to figure out how they can take their work, their life to the next level. So, by being overly concerned about others, I'm actually thinking more about them than they are thinking about me. And I hope I'm making sense. So, I really had to train myself to do that. I had to do a lot of self talk to do this, and not to say that that feeling has completely gone away. But what would help is if you did it in spite of that fear, in spite of that insecurity, it will help us get through that resistance. It's like a muscle, right? The more you train this, the more you do it, the easier it gets over a period of time. So, yeah, I think those are the three things I want to address today. This is something that I also hear from a lot of people that I speak to. I hope this was helpful for you. And this conversation will prompt you to look at yourself and see if any of these things are holding you back. And if they are, please be more aware of it when it happens and push yourself to do it in spite of those resistance. Do let me know your thoughts and comments here below or on any of my handles. I'll give them in the description below. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.